Yo, man, we here, episode 2 of my new podcast, I Came Through. And of course, man, if you don't know the man, the legend, I'm here with the homie, Fanatic. I know if you don't know him, let me introduce him real properly. Grammy Award winning, producer, composer, the man, Fanatic, man. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man.
You good?
Glad to be here, man. Glad to be a part of this.
Man, I appreciate you doing this, man. You know, for the people that don't know, tell them where you from, man.
I'm right here from Greensboro. Born and raised, born in Poughkeepsie, New York, actually. And grew up down here in Greensboro. I went to Greensboro Day School. I went to Smith High School, Weaver Education Center, and then on to the Art Institute of Atlanta, where I learned the music business. And it's kind of how I got into this whole thing.
So, you spent time in Atlanta at the Art Institute. And you graduated. Did you have any other colleges in mind before you chose to go to the Art Institute?
Well, my mom told me that I had to go to college.
Right, of course.
So I was like, well, if I got to go to school, I'm gonna go to music school, because that was something that I was really interested in really pursuing as a career. I started off at Greensboro Day School playing live instruments and band, and then Mixmaster D actually introduced me to hip hop once I got to the 9th grade at Allen, and basically he just exposed my whole world to hip hop. And from there, I knew that was something that I wanted to pursue as a career.
So how did you go from Atlanta to doing things like for Puff and the whole Bad Boy, the Hitman situation, and the whole Mason producer for Big? For those you don't know, this man credentials is crazy.
I've just been very, very fortunate, just relentless pursuit and being in the right place at the right time. When I graduated from the Art Institute of Atlanta, I came back to Greensboro, and we started this independent record label called Payroll Records with Roland Jones. So when I got there, I started producing. I didn't even really know at the time that's what it was that I was doing. But I was making all the music for the Busy Boys, for Supreme Nabon, Entice, all Bad Rep, all the artists that were over there. I was basically producing the bulk of the records for them. So Roland used to take us back and forth to New York, because he's from New York. And he used to take us back and forth to New York, so we did the Apollo, we did the radios, Red Alert, all these different things. Yeah, we did the Apollo Theater. And so going back and forth with him just gave us the confidence that you could just get in your car and go to New York and spend the weekend up there networking and moving around. And so, after I left Payroll Records, that was a practice that we just did, where we worked a regular job during the week with some BS job, nothing really serious. And on the weekends, we just get in the car and we drive to New York. So coming back and forth, networking, I was able to meet Biggie and at the Hit Factory. I know the Hit Factory was a spot.
Hit Factory.
Yeah, everybody hung out at. So it's like Devontae had one room locked down, Puffy had another room locked down, Vincent Herbert had another room locked down. Everybody, there was somebody who was recording in the Hit Factory. Right. So we knew that was the hangout. So if you hung out there, you were going to come in contact with somebody. So we saw a guy by the name of Sincere. There's a good friend of ours. We used to stay at his place when we go up there. We sleep on the floor at his spot, and he happened to know Rivera, who was Biggie's
big shout out to
partner at the time, and Diaz. And so we knew Lil' Kim was working on an album. We contacted Sincere set it up for us to go by. So we went by the Hit Factory, and I went and played tracks for him. So those were just like how we got in, and once Crush on You came out, then at that point we were able to take a lot of meetings. That's how I met Puffy. Well, actually I met Puffy through Vincent Herbert's nephew, a cousin actually. And he basically walked me in. He was working for Bad Boy, he just graduated from Howard. His name is Ramon Herbert, call him Jers. He basically was working for Bad Boy, and he brought me in. And I knew him because Nissens was an artist that I had here in Greensboro. that was signed by Vincent Herbert. We had a production deal with Vincent Herbert on Elektra. So I was signed as a producer, Omniscience was signed as an artist. And so we put the record out through Elektra. Things happened, it didn't really blow up like we anticipated, but I still had that relationship with Vincent's cousin, Ramon. So when he got at Bad Boy, he called me, came through, played Puff like a bunch of music that I had been creating, and like he's like, let's go. And I became a hitman producer.
And be clear, you produced Crush on You.
Yeah.
He produced Crush on You.
I did that in my house over here behind UNCG. It's in my bedroom, produced that record.
You produced that, you had it in Greensboro?
In my bedroom, and I had it for like probably about 2 years, and nobody bid on it. And then all of a sudden, I played it for Big, and he immediately was like, "That's it." And from that point, it was like, which is so funny because after I sold it, everybody wanted that track, and I was like, I've had this track for 3 years. Nobody wanted it until Lil Kim did it.
I think this is groundbreaking news to at least my peers that Crush on You was made here, not only in Greensboro but in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And he was sitting on it for years.
Yeah.
And for the youngers that don't know about Crush on You, it was a major hit in the 90s. Major hit. And that lets you know how long this man really put in the work.
That definitely jump-started my career. But like every music that I've produced, the records that I did on Beyonce, Biggie, Anthony Hamilton, Mace, Raheem DeVaughn, Angie Stone, Boyz II Men, like Will Smith, all these records that I had done were records that I had done a while ago. So like when you're making tracks on a regular basis and writing songs on a regular basis, they don't always get picked up right away. But if you have a great song, then it's gonna find a home. So most of the records that I produced on all these artists were records that I did maybe 6 months to a year prior to them getting picked up.
I like that you're dropping that gem right there because I'm only interviewing independent creators, so to speak, not just artists, but and rappers or hip hop people, but creators such as yourself who really understand how this thing goes. This is a process.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a process, and you definitely have to be able to endure because when you're in the moment and you make something, you think it's the greatest thing in the world and everybody's gonna receive it. But sometimes people don't have the foresight to see it. Sometimes, it's just not the right person or the right time. So I just kept making music, and the bottom line is, at some point, somebody's gonna hear that track and it's gonna resonate with them, and then they're gonna choose that track. So most of the stuff that I've done are tracks that I had done before, which is a great thing to know that you're producing music that doesn't have an expiration date on it.
Timeless music is so important, man.
Definitely.
Like we still listen to Crush on You to this day, the whole album.
Yeah, it's been sampled many times. Mariah Carey just sampled it last year. Yeah. So that's the great thing about when you make a classic record. It's like your publishing just goes on forever. So Mike City introduced me to one of the executives over at Overbrook. And he was basically working on Will Smith at the Hit Factory with the Track Masters, Tone and Pope. And
shout out to Tone and Pope,
man. Classic. So I played him the track, and next thing you know, I'm in the studio with Will Smith, and we're creating a record on the Big Willie Style album, which sold 10 million.
10 million.
Crazy.
Under Be Clear, he produced, y'all know, for Will Smith. On the Big Willie album that did 10 million sold.
10 million, and he was like one of the first rap artists to sell that many records, and it was just like a great time in hip hop, a great time to be in New York, great time to be in the mix with all of these artists that were like at the peak of when hip hop was just really hitting mainstream for the first time and doing huge numbers in terms of sales.
What year was that?
That escapes me at the moment. I can't even remember, but it might have been 2003, something. I'm not sure. It was a while ago.
When that happens, and you are on such a big project like that, do you receive a plaque for the unit sold as part of it?
Yeah, I got platinum plaques for all those records that unfortunately, a lot of the records that I was on went gold or platinum. So actually all of them went platinum except for the Mace album that went gold.
To double up.
Right, and that was because he retired the second the record came out, so he wasn't there to promote the record, but everything else that I had done went platinum, so you do get a plaque for that. I won the Grammy for the Beyonce record, so I got the platinum plaque and the Grammy for Beyonce, so it was I've just been very fortunate to work with like really iconic artists that are in the industry.
And I want to talk about that working with Beyonce. And first off, I saw the footage of when she received
the Grammy Award.
What, 2000?
Yeah.
What was it?
I'm not sure. It might have been 2006. I'm not sure.
I think it was 2003, Dangerously in Love.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
She received the Grammy and she mentioned, where were you at during that moment?
Man.
And what did you see it live? Did somebody send it to you? Well, probably not at 03, nobody sent it to you.
Well, this is what happened. So I was at home actually when that happened.
Were you here in Greensboro?
No, I was living in
West Coast.
I was living in New York at that time.
Okay.
I lived in New York first for many years, and then I moved to LA.
Okay.
But I was at home when it happened, and it just like really took me by surprise because there were so many big producers on that album. But the thing about it was I took her in a place musically that she hasn't previously been with Destiny's Child.
Okay.
And this was the first time she was actually talking about an experience with an individual. Before it was just love song. This one was like this erotic ballad that she was actually talking about, sex and things like that on the record. Now, the first time she had done that. And I know the record made a bold statement for her at the time, and it stood out to her. So every time I see her, she gives me crazy love about that record because it was a very impactful record for her and a great experience for her. And so I guess that's why she gave me a shout out. So I was just honored to be in the conversation with all the illustrious producers on that album, and she remembered me in that moment. So I know that my record was special to her.
So were y'all in the studio when that was created, or did you flew to it?
So I originally I was working on The Boys to Men in Atlanta, and a friend of mine was working on her album. I think it was an A&R, and basically they asked me did I want to submit something for Beyonce, and I was like, sure. So I gave her some tracks, and then I didn't hear from them for like about 7 or 8 months, so I just thought, well, whatever, right? It didn't happen. And then I got a call in the middle of the night, and they were like, can you come to the Hit Factory tomorrow to mix the record with Beyonce? I was like, what record? I was like, what record with Beyonce? I didn't know anything about it. They're like, oh, she took one of your tracks, and her and Angela Bienz wrote a song to it. And I was like, oh, okay. And so next thing you know, I was in the studio with Beyonce, and we were mixing the record, and it was just like an amazing experience to see her work. She's very, very much a perfectionist, and just the fact that she took the record and they took it a place that I initially intended for the record to be about in terms of lyrical content. So it was just spoke to me about how powerful the music was, that they were able to catch the same vibe of what the song should be about from the music without even being in the same room.
Man, that is mind blowing and very inspiring to me, from artist to artist, man. That you probably, like I said, you submitted the record, so you just thought, okay, if she does, she picks something, she does, she doesn't, I just keep working and moving on.
Well, that's the thing about this business is you got to just plant seeds.
Success seeds.
Yeah,
I preach success seeds all the time.
You just got to keep planting seeds, and something is going to manifest from that. You know what I'm saying? But you got to just keep planting it. Once you send it off to, like as I did in that situation, once I sent it off to her, I did all that I could do to make that situation happen. And then I just move on and create another situation, and all of a sudden, that would happen.
And as far as, you working with Michael Jackson, man, on Heaven Can't Wait.
Yeah.
And how did that collaboration happen?
Well, I had the song. I was working with another producer, so I had the song. I found when I heard the track and it was done, I was just like, this sounds like a Michael Jackson song. It reminded me of like Lady in My Life. So I went and found a writer by the name of Thru that I work with, that knows Michael Jackson inside and out, can write that Michael Jackson vibe all day. So I got with him, he wrote the song, then we found a vocalist that could actually sing, that could do Michael Jackson. It was like, he could almost emulate Michael Jackson in terms of vocal. So we had him reference the song. So it sounded like a Michael Jackson record. So the track felt like Michael Jackson. The writer was writing something that, in terms of melody and harmonies and everything, it sounded like Michael Jackson. And then we had the vocalist that sounded similar to what Michael would do vocally.
Okay.
So when you put all that together, when you play the record for the label, immediately they can hear Michael Jackson. So we did the record first, and I chopped it to, I was trying to get Janet to do the record. Because at the time I didn't think, what's the chance of me getting into Michael Jackson?
Okay.
So I was like, I knew somebody at Virgin, so I was like, let me try to get Janet on this, because Janet and Michael do some similar thing vocally at times.
Okay.
So I took it to them, and they were like, nobody's gonna do this record. This record is about death. I don't think Janet or anybody ever recorded this record. So then I went to Kevon Edmonds, Babyface's brother, and he cut the record. And as we're cutting the record, Kevon Edmonds says, you guys are trying to make me sound like Michael Jackson. He's like, I'm not Michael Jackson, I'm Kevon Edmonds. You want Michael Jackson, you want somebody that sounds like Michael Jackson, you should go get Michael Jackson. And then the light bulb went off. And I was like, he's right. So we took the record from Kevon Edmonds, the whole bunch of mess behind that. And then we went to a friend of mine, just happened to be Teddy Riley's assistant. And Teddy Riley just happened to be working with Michael Jackson. So I sent him the record, and all this is playing 6 Degrees of Separation, and that's when I realized you can get to anybody through 6 Degrees of Separation. So I got the record to him, he played it for Teddy, and 2 weeks later Michael Jackson was standing literally in my face having a conversation about the record at the Hit Factory in Miami. So it was just like a really surreal experience. That, like, I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina, and the guy Michael is standing right here in my face having a conversation about recording our song. So it was just, at that point, I just knew that, you know, anything was possible. So,
what was the first thing you said when you saw him?
I mean, I was almost speechless because I couldn't believe like he was actually there and having a conversation. I'm actually having a conversation with him where he's talking about how much he loves this record and what he's going to do to this record. So even Michael just giving you a compliment on your music and really loving it to the point that he wants to record it is a very big thing. So shout out to everybody. Terrence Thompson worked on that, Aritza Laws worked on that, Teron Beal worked on that. It was just a lot, I forget the vocal and did the reference, but it was a collaborative effort of us just being big fans of Michael and putting us all in the mix to make that record happen.
And before then, did you have a relationship with Teddy Riley?
I did.
Okay.
I met him at that moment when we did that record, and from there I ended up working on Black Street.
Yeah, because you worked with Black Street too.
Right. Yeah, I did a record for Black Street after that. So
that worked out double for you.
Yeah.
Relationship.
Yes, definitely. So and you know, Teddy's a very musical person, and I think he picked up on the fact that I was as well. And I did a lot of, you know, fusion of genres in my music, and I think he picked up on that, and that's what he's into as well.
And I know you're very busy, and you're all over the place, and you know you spent some time in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And how would you compare your time in New York to your time here? Because I saw an interview where you said that you moved back here to basically where your relationships were more sincere.
Oh yeah. Well, being in New York and LA, I had been gone for over 15, 20 years or whatever between New York and LA.
Okay.
And after a while, you start, like when you're in it, it's just moving so fast, you're not really thinking about it. But as you get older, you start thinking about the things that are necessary for you personally to grow and to continue to, you know, keep it together. Because like I said, this business is so up and down.
Absolutely.
And so I looked around and I realized I was in LA and I was spending a lot of time in isolation in my house making music. And I didn't really have any really sincere, I had maybe like one or two really sincere relationships in terms of friendships. And the thing about that is those two friends, one was on way out in Venice, so I didn't see him on a regular basis. And the other one was a high-level executive, Omar Brambert, who was working with Jaden Smith, and Jaden started to take off. So I wasn't seeing him on a regular basis and whatnot. And so when you don't really have those sincere relationships around you, you spend a lot of time with yourself and you're not growing like you should.
Absolutely.
And so I realized I had a lot of acquaintances and a lot of relationships, but they weren't as sincere. They were just business relationships. So coming home, you know, you start feeling that love that you get from North Carolina because it's just home, you know. It's just like people are very friendly, people are very sincere. You run into a lot of people that you grew up with, a lot of people that, you know, you made music with, just really sincere friendships where nobody necessarily wants anything from you other than your friendship. And LA is not like that. Everybody wants something from you in LA. So, so the thing about it is, it was just important for me. Oh, by the way, my friend on the west side was Emmett Sky. What up, Emmett?
Oh yeah, shout out to Emmett Sky, man.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
Dope artist. If you're not following him, follow him on Instagram.
Definitely.
But the thing about it is, you have to have that sincerity to keep you going, because there's a whole side of life that exists outside of the record business where you have to nurture that just as much as you nurture the business side.
What would you say to the people who think that they have to necessarily move to New York or LA to get their music career popping, or their acting career popping, or if they're photographers, they have to get out there to get their name bigger?
You don't
you believe that?
There was a time that I did believe in that, and where the industry did dictate that. But now with the internet, you don't really have to. But I would suggest that you dip your toe in the water every couple of months there to build relationships, network. The Grammy time is a great time to go to LA because everybody is out there, all the labels are out there, all the artists are out there. I also just, you know, bi-coastal is kind of like the thing that I'm kind of doing, and it's important to be there because even just soaking up the culture is very important, and just seeing what's going on musically in other places. So I would suggest to go to New York and LA on a regular basis to make sure you still stay connected to what's emerging musically, and just the trends and the fashion and the everything, you know. Just pop culture is happening in those major cities, so I just think it's important that you know, go back and forth and make sure that you're experiencing that culture as well as here.
Do you think that since the recent success of J. Cole,
The
Baby,
Baby.
and Dreamville, and a bunch of other artists that aren't necessarily
Rhapsody.
Absolutely, can't leave out Rhapsody. A bunch of other artists and creators that aren't necessarily top tier as J. Cole and the Baby are, but they're still basically
Look
independent and just really pushing it. Absolutely. Some of them think that since the emergence of such great artists and creators, that some or most record execs are looking to come here and looking for talent versus having to go out there.
Well, it's definitely that's definitely gonna happen. Well, if you notice, one of the reasons I came back is because I noticed that on those shows like American Idol and The Voice, shout out to Vanessa Ferguson, and then Shelby J doing her thing with Prince. What I noticed on The Voice and American Idol, like artists from this area were constantly showing up in the final rounds of those competitions, like Fantasia, like Vanessa Ferguson. So I knew that there was something in this area in terms of talent that still existed, and it was being showcased to the world more often. So labels are definitely with the Baby and with J. Cole and all the Rhapsody and all these artists emerging from this area. There's definitely record labels are definitely going to come out here to explore and see what's going on out here. I'm on a mission to start a record label here, which will happen sometime this summer. to help put out some of these artists locally, because I found so many great artists here. And before, I used to come back and forth, and I didn't really see I saw artists with talent,
right.
but I didn't see artists that were, like, to me, could compete with the best artists out there. But with the invention of the internet now, and Pro Tools on your laptop, you know, before you had to pay to go into a studio, so a lot of people weren't really in the studios like that. But now that you have a laptop, you're at your home, it's inexpensive to create, you're doing it on a regular basis and getting into that space of repetition, and then the more you do it, the better you get. So what I noticed, a lot of the artists now are really, really good in this area because they've been putting in that work every single day, and you can see the development of those artists. So now, before, where I was just seeing artists with talent, I see artists that are polished and ready to go, that are here. And so I think now labels will have to pay attention to this area, because there are the Baby is like one of the biggest artists in the game right now, and he's from Charlotte. So and with Anthony Hamilton and artists like that, I think the labels will have to pay attention to this area, because there are going to be more artists to come out of here that really explode on the music scene.
And to be clear, we've had plenty of artists that have came and emerged from North Carolina. Talent has been.
Yeah, definitely.
And you were an example of that.
Oh, thank you.
And
Ski Beats.
Oh man, we love shout out to Ski Beats, man. I still want to ski beat. I still need a reasonable.
Mark Sparks came from here.
Absolutely. And we see you all over the place, you know, dealing with a lot of mainstream artists and really big name artists. How does a man that's so busy find time to have fun?
Ah, man, making music every day is fun to me. Like,
Do you do anything else? You take trips.
I mean, I definitely try to get out and you know, take a trip to New York, whether it be a weekend trip, or go to LA for a couple of days, just so that, like I said, I can experience the culture and see what else is going on. But for the most part, I'm making music every single day. I'm working on my album. I have a band called Billy Lennox, and where it's blues-based psychedelic rock mixed with hip-hop type record that I'm doing. So I'm writing and recording that every day, and just collaborating with musicians like Marcus Riley. And
shout out to Marcus Riley too, man.
Yeah, just creating music every day for that project, as well as producing other stuff. I kind of like the genre search. So I'll do hip hop one day, I'll do rock the next day, I'll do pop the next day. So I'm doing like just music every day that I wake up.
You a family man?
Definitely.
You father?
Definitely.
Okay. You got boys, girls?
Both.
With you? Okay.
Both. Yeah. Definitely.
What they think about daddy's career and all that?
Well, that's.
How old are your kids? Are they age to know?
Yeah. They're at the age where they know, but they never really experienced like. Well, I take that back. My daughter has definitely been on the scene where I've been in big rooms with a lot of big people working on things, so she gets it. And my son, not so much, but they know my music, and you know, they love the possibility that anything can happen. So, you know, there are many times that I've, you know, had a conversation with them about something that is getting ready to happen that is like, you know, amazing thing to them, because it's like, I didn't even know that you knew this person, or I didn't even know you were in the loop with this person, and things like that. So it was kind of cool, you know.
Is there a difference between Fanatic and I pronounce your name when I say Andrea? Is there a difference between Fanatic and Andrea?
Well, definitely Fanatic is more obsessed with music, obsessed with fashion and creative expression. Andrea is the introvert in the house, shy, quiet guy that is just, you know, mild-mannered, minimalist, very reserved type person, laid back. Where Fanatic is this alter ego of somebody that is obsessed with music and creative expression and success.
Is it hard to separate the two?
At times, but the people that are close to me, you know, they love Andrea, and the people that want to pursue a career in music and admire some of the things that I've done and want to learn or whatever, they like Fanatic. So, you know, it's kind of cool. I get to go back and forth.
When you've been around and done work for the likes of Michael Jackson, Beyonce, Mace, Biggie, Junior Mafia, and the list goes, Anthony Hamilton, and the list goes on. What's next for you?
I think just getting into the artist space. I've been behind the scenes for so long and just grooming artists and producing artists. And now I think I'm in a space where I really want to get into the artist space myself. You've been giving all the information to all these artists before, and now it's like if you have the information, why not put it to use and go for your goals and your dreams? And I'm just constantly evolving as an artist, and so that's something that I'm excited about every day that I wake up. So being in the artist space and being able to express yourself through your music and being able to control it. Because a lot of times you blow these artists up and you know, they end up getting the label deals and production deals, or they end up going left on you. It's so many things that can happen between the time that you create the record and that the record actually comes out. And so for me, I want to be more in control of the record. So if I create it, I know I can bet on myself to promote it and put it out there and continue to grow as an artist and deal with all the ups and downs of the music business and be able to navigate through that. A lot of artists can't do that. They're really talented, produce a great record on them, but they get lost and trying to endure the record business, and some of them don't make it. So for me, now I'm in control of that process. So if I create it, I can see it from A to Z and deliver it to the marketplace.
And I'm glad you said that, because this is my last question, and this is a very important question that I think a lot of my viewers are going to want to know, because a lot of my viewers are artists and creators as well. Independent or signed to a label, what would you do today?
Well, of course, you know, you want to go independent, but it just really depends on the artist. If you know how to work a major label system, then yeah, I would sign with a major label. Just know that you have to, getting a record deal is, people don't really realize this, getting a record deal is the easy part. Getting people to believe at the label, getting them to believe in the record, to push it and make it a priority, and everybody at the label to get behind it, because this is something that can be successful for the entire label, is the hard part. So once you get up in there, you have to still be, because like even though the baby signed to Interscope, he's still very self-contained, and he's still moving, and the label is trying to keep up with him. So the thing that I would say that, yeah, I would sign to a major label because they have the resources to market you all over the world just like that. But when you get up in there, you still have to work like you're an independent artist and constantly be moving, making things happen on your own that makes the label pay attention, and then they put their muscle behind you as well. So, you know, I would start off independently, but I would definitely be looking for a major to get their backing, because like I said, they got the resources, the finances, and the relationships to put you places that you can't get by yourself independently.
I like that outlook on it. I like it, and that's the conversation I have with a lot of other artists and creators as well. It's a rough road on what you should go. You know, and you just have to be smart about both, and you have to work hard regardless. And I think a lot of artists feel like that, you know, once you get to the label, oh, it's on from there. Like it's
now that's when the work really starts. That's when it really starts.
That's when the work really starts right there. And I think a lot of artists get wrapped up with the advance money and the resources and the look per se. The look, right. Yo, I look like I'm on. Right. And when you look like you on in this day and age of picture liking, you know, you can't tell certain artists how to do things.
It's definitely a facade, and it's definitely, like I said, the advance is just that. It's an advance, but it runs out at some point. And you do not want to be signed to the label where the advances ran out and you have not made any headway in the label. So now all of a sudden you're stuck in the contract with no money, and you're still trying to make things happen. So that's why I said once you get the advance and sign, you got to immediately hit the ground running and get something going on that's going to make the label pay attention, make everybody drop their projects that they're working on and get behind your project, because they know it's going to be a hit for the label.
Man, I thank you for your time.
Man, I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on as well, this podcast, and just just sharing the knowledge to my people, man. Not only my people, myself. And
dude, it's so important that when you have experience in the record business, to share it with the next generation of hit makers, because we all know somebody that is so talented and has the gift, and life just got in the way, and they gave up. And my mission is to anybody that I see that has potential that I can recognize the gift immediately, and it's obvious to everybody. You got to do everything in your power to help them find their way so that they can get to your level and then be able to share their gift and their experiences with other people that will help them. So, you know, nobody can get through this thing by themselves. You got to help each other, and you got to figure it out. So anytime I get a chance to share some information that may help somebody in that next step of their career, I do it, man.
Man, this has been a dope interview, man. I love your energy, I love the spirit. I've been a fan of your work, and never thought I would be sitting with the man of the man.
It happened when we just linked up in the studio.
In the studio, you're right, man. I mean, look at God, man.
Yeah,
look at God, man.
Definitely.
Fanatic, man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast,
bro. Anytime.
Man, check this man out. You know what I mean?
Experience Fanatic on Instagram. Hit me up. I'm also on Facebook, Experience Fanatic. But definitely follow my music. Billy Lennox coming very soon. We're gonna get it to you guys too, so you guys can promote it on your podcast as well. And just look out for us, man. I appreciate you.
Hey, man. Here with the Grammy Award winner, producer out of North Carolina. Greensboro to be exact. 336. I came through podcast.